Lesson 100 is a super long lesson, so just bear with me. We'll get through it. 100.1 is integrating tan squared of x dx. Well, we don't have a formula for that, but we do know that tan squared is secant squared of x minus 1, and that we can integrate, because the integral of secant squared is tangent of x, and then the integral of negative 1 is minus x. All right, so we're going to use that multiple times. 100.2 is to integrate tan cubed x dx. So what we'll do is we'll change that to be tan of x times tan squared of x. And then tan squared of x is the same as secant squared of x minus 1. So then if we distribute that, we get the integral of tangent of x secant squared of x dx minus the integral of tan x dx. All right, well here we can use a u substitution. If u is tan of x, then du is secant squared of x dx. So this is going to be the integral of u du, and then minus the integral of tan of x dx, and that's a new one. That's up at the top of page, or in the middle of page 511. So this integral will be u squared over 2 minus this one is ln of secant of x, and then plus c. All right, so then we just go back and put in u. So this will be 1/2 tan squared x. And then this right here, because it's a natural logarithm, that's like having a negative 1 exponent. So if we take that and apply it right here, it's actually the same as saying plus ln of, what's 1 over secant would be what? Yes, cosine of x. And then plus c. Okay. 100.3 is on page 512. And it's to integrate tan to the 4th of x dx, which is the same as tan squared of x times tan squared of x dx. And then for one of those tan squareds, we can replace it with secant squared x minus 1. And then we'll distribute that, which gives us the integral of tan squared x times secant squared x dx minus the integral of tan squared of x dx. Okay, so this is, u would be equal to tan of x. So du is equal to secant squared x dx. So this becomes the integral of u squared du. And the integral of tan squared is just secant x, and then we'll have our plus c. Did I do that wrong? I did do that. I'm thinking backwards like you guys always do. The integral would be the derivative, sorry. All right, so this then is secant squared of x minus 1. Subbing that in for tan squared of x. Okay, so this will be u cubed over 3 minus the integral of secant squared of x is tan of x. And then minus times minus will make this plus the integral of 1 is x, and then plus the c. So the only thing we have left here is just to plug back in the u. So that will be 1/3 tan cubed of x minus tan of x plus x plus c. All right, so that was using tangent. Now the next three that we're going to do are going to be using cotangent. So 100.4 is the integral of cotan squared x dx. So that's the same as cosecant squared of x minus 1 dx. So we have to think back. The integral of cosecant squared would be negative cotan of x, because the derivative of cotan is minus cosecant squared. So the integral of this is going to be minus cotan of x. And then the integral of minus 1 is just minus x. Okay. Next, the integral of cotan cubed of x is the same as the integral of cotangent of x times cotan squared of x. And then we can say cotan squared is the same as cosecant squared x minus 1. So we have the integral of cotan of x times cosecant squared of x, and then minus the integral of cotan x. Sorry. Okay, so from here, I'm going to let, come on, u is going to be equal to cotan of x, so then du would be equal to minus cosecant squared of x. So then that would give us the integral of, minus the integral of u du. So minus the integral of u du. And then for the next part, the integral of cotan of x is the one that's back on page 511. Well, actually, they didn't give it to us. They give it to us right here. So the integral of cotan of x by itself is minus ln of the sine of x and then plus c. So the integral of this is minus u squared over 2 minus, this negative is like a minus 1 again. It's an exponent, so this would be 1 over sine, which is actually wrong. This isn't sine of x. It should have been cosecant. Minus ln of x. Oh, that's right. So that would be negative sine of x to the negative 1 would be 1 over sine of x, which is cosecant. So it would be plus cosecant of x plus c. And then u is cotan, so this would be minus a half cotan squared of x plus cosecant of x plus c. All right, one more similar to this. This is integrate cotan to the 4th of x, which you can imagine is, we did it similar to this with tangent. So this would be cotan squared of x times cotan squared of x dx. And then we can substitute for cotan squared, so this will be cosecant squared x minus 1, which gives us the integral of cotan squared of x times cosecant squared of x minus the integral of cotan squared of x. Okay, so we can let u be equal to cotan of x, and then du is equal to minus cosecant squared x dx. So this becomes the integral of minus the integral of u du, and then the integral of cotan squared is just, well, it was minus the integral of cotan squared, so it'd be plus cotan of plus, get that, yes, minus cotan squared of x. Oh, and cotan squared of x is I'm going to make that minus cosecant squared of x minus 1. Okay, there we go. All right, so then this will be minus u squared over, oh, that's u squared, sorry. This was cotan squared, so so this is u squared, which will make this not squared, but cubed. U cubed over 3. And then the integral of cosecant is negative cotangent. So negative times negative would make this plus cotan of x. And then negative times negative makes this plus x. And then plus c. And now we just change the u back to, so it'd be minus 1/3 cotan cubed of x plus cotan of x plus x plus c. So it's just tedious, and remembering your basic derivatives from the beginning of the year. All right, the next two are different. So we're supposed to integrate secant of x dx. And we don't have a formula for it. I mean, we're going to develop the formula for it, but the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a form of 1 that the book suggests. So we're going to multiply secant x by secant x plus tan x over secant x plus tan x. Very unconventional. We'd never think to do this. So you have to remember this is a technique that you use to develop the identity for secant of x. So then this becomes the integral of secant squared of x plus secant x tan x over secant x plus tan x. Okay, so now what we need to look at is if I let this be equal to u equals secant x plus tan x, then what's du? Derivative of secant is secant x tan x, and the derivative of tan is secant squared of x. Well, look, this is the same as this, just in a different order. So we can say, make this u substitution, so then we actually only have the integral of 1 over u du, and the integral of 1 over u du is ln of u plus c. So this would be equal to ln u plus c, and now just put your u back in. It's absolute value, sorry. So this would be equal to ln of secant x plus tan x, and then plus c. Okay, one more. Change the page. 100.8 is similar to that, but it's the integral of cosecant x dx. So we'll multiply this by another form of 1, which would be cosecant x minus cotan of x. And then dx. So the integral will be cosecant squared of x minus cosecant x cotan of x over cosecant x minus cotan of x. So here again, let's let u be the denominator and see what happens. So derivative of cosecant, derivative of cosecant is cosecant x cotan x, and then the derivative of cotan of x is cosecant squared of x. Okay, so this actually it's minus. The derivative of cotan of x is negative cosecant, so this becomes a plus, and this one should have been a minus, yeah, because the derivative of cosecant of x is minus cosecant of x cotan of x. Okay, which is this backwards. So what we actually have is the integral of 1 over u du, which is going to be ln of u, absolute value of u plus c. So this then would be ln of the absolute value of cosecant of x minus cotan of x plus c. And now if you look at page 514 in that box, those you should add to the integrals that you need to have memorized. Integral of sine is cosine. Integral of cosine is negative sine. Integral of tangent is natural log of the absolute value of secant of x. Integral of cosecant is natural log of absolute value of cosecant x minus cotan x. And all of these are plus c. And then the integral of secant of x is ln of the absolute value of secant x plus tan x. And cotan of x is equal to the natural log of sine of x plus c. All right.